Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share.
Alright guys, let's continue. Okay, my previous video, okay, we have discussed about ETC. So basically for NADH pathway involve complex 1, 3, 4. And all these three complex, it may pump hydrogen ion from matrix to intermembrane space. Okay, for FADH2, the transferring of electron involve complex 3, complex 4. Complex 2, complex 3, complex 4. But the complex that pump hydrogen ion from matrix to intermembrane spaces is only complex 3 and complex 4. Okay, but in both pathway, the final electron acceptor is the same, which is oxygen. So oxygen is final electron acceptor. When it reduces, it will react with hydrogen ion to form water. Okay, so now kita tak dapat lagi 34 ATP tu. Betul tak? Okay, and then bila kita kata oxidative phosphorylation, we just in halfway because we just learn about ETC. So let's continue with the second part, which is chemiosmosis. So what is chemiosmosis? Chemiosmosis is the mechanism that use energy store in form of hydrogen ion gradient across membrane to drive cellular work or ATP synthesis and involve ATP synthase. Okay, so mechanism use energy stored in form of hydrogen ion gradient across membrane. Okay, so means that the ATP produced is by the hydrogen ion gradient that cross the ATP synthase and then ATP terhasil. Kalau tak faham macam ni. Okay, now just imagine. Okay, NADH, from NADH, when it transfer electron, so it will cause the complex 1, 3 and 4 pump hydrogen ion from matrix to intermembrane space. FADH2, it will cause the complex 3 and 4 to pump hydrogen ion to intermembrane space. So the consequence is, in intermembrane space is high concentration of hydrogen ion compared to matrix. So this will create, kita panggil sebagai concentration gradient. Hydrogen ion concentration gradient. So concentration gradient ni maksudnya apa? Dekat atas, dekat intermembrane space ni ada banyak hydrogen ion compared kepada matrix. So this concentration gradient akan menyebabkan this hydrogen ion from intermembrane space will flow back to the matrix. Sebab kita belajar konsep osmosis, betul tak? Osmosis, the movement of water from high water potential to low water potential. So macam ni juga. Bila dekat sini ada high concentration of hydrogen ion, so the hydrogen ion will flow back to the area which the concentration lower. So in this case, the flow back of hydrogen ion is via ATP synthase. So when the hydrogen ion flow through ATP synthase, it will cause the ADP to phosphorylate. Means bila hydrogen ion tu masuk saja melalui ATP synthase, dia akan menyebabkan ADP combine dengan phosphate. So yang terhasil adalah ATP. Masuk lagi satu hydrogen ion, benda yang sama berlaku. The entrance of the hydrogen ion through the ATP synthase will cause the ADP to phosphorylate to form ATP. Okay. Now, let's recall back. So in NADH pathway, complex 1, 3, 4 will pump hydrogen ion. So means that when the hydrogen ion flow back through ATP synthase, so chemiosmosis occur, 1 NADH can yield 3 ATP. 1 NADH can yield 3 ATP. Why? Because complex 1, 3, 4 pump hydrogen ion from matrix to intermembrane space. So means that consider kita ada 3 molekul of hydrogen ion. So bila setiap ni flow masuk, dia akan menghasilkan 1 ATP. 2 ATP, 3 ATP. So that's why from 1 NADH, we can get 3 ATP. Okay. It is differ compared to FADH2 because in FADH2 pathway, only complex 3 and 4 will pump hydrogen ion from matrix to intermembrane space. So in this case, apa yang kamu boleh dapat? From 1 FADH2, 1 molecule of FADH2 will yield 2 ATP. Okay, 1 NADH, 3 ATP. But one molecule of FADH2 produce 2 ATP. Okay, so boleh dapat? Now from the calculation yang kita buat, okay, after kita dah melalui proses Krebs cycle tadi, we know that after the 3 process we have 10 NADH. So the 10 NADH will produce how many ATP? From 10 NADH, we're going to have 30 ATP from NADH. Okay, we're going to have 10, kita ada 10 NADH, Y10, 2 from glycolysis, 2 from ring reaction, and then 6 from the Krebs cycle. So 10 times 3, Y3, because each of NADH molecule will synthesize 3 ATP. So total ATP produced is 30 ATP. And then we also have 2 molecule of FADH2. And each molecule of this will produce 2 ATP. So total we have 4 ATP from FADH2. So directly we get here 34 ATP. Alright, so 34 ATP. So in this 34 ATP, kita tengok balik equation kita, adakah semuanya dah lengkap? Okay, kita dah dapat 4 ATP for substrate level phosphorylation. And then we also already have another 34 ATP from oxidative phosphorylation. So in total, we have 38 ATP. So remember, this 38 ATP is not every cell will produce 38 ATP from one molecule of glucose. Tak. Ada sel yang akan hasilkan 36. Ada sel yang akan hasilkan 38. But for active cell like muscle cell, okay, liver cell, mereka akan hasilkan 38 ATP daripada one molecule of glucose. So perbezaannya adalah berdasarkan shuttle. So kalau rasa nak buat, rasa nak study, nak baca balik, boleh bacalah. Okay. Kita ada 2 jenis shuttle yang akan menyebabkan perubahan dari segi sama ada 38 atau 36 tu. But in your syllabus, we focus on 30 ATP that synthesized in active cell. Okay. Alright, so that is for chemiosmosis. So, bila kita tengok balik equation, everything is complete now. Why? Is the equation? Okay, here, okay. So, the glucose is used in glycolysis. And then oxygen, this one is during ETC. Carbon dioxide produced, yes, this one is during Ring reaction and also Krebs cycle. Okay, water produced, yes, water is produced in ETC. Okay, and then the 38 ATP produced when, okay, 4 by substrate level phosphorylation, which is 2 from glycolysis and 2 from Krebs cycle. And then another 34 is come from oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, oxidative phosphorylation will involve 10 NADH and 2 molecule of FADH2. So settled. That is the explanation for aerobic